My name is Chief Francis Ofoegbu. I'm 75 years old, and I'm from Olo in Imo State of Nigeria. I went to school in my own area of Imo State, a college called Bishop Shanahan College, Olo, and I graduated from there in 1962. Went to Holy Ghost College to do an A-level, and then came to England in 1964. They taught us how to behave. That's your table manners, your style of life, their style to be safe, their safety was also mentioned, and told you to be more conscious of your education than what is happening in London. I applied for an engineering course in London, and I was admitted. My parents paid for the school fees and for my boarding, and British Council gave us the initiation in Nigeria, what we were expected to, how we were expected to live in England. So after all that, they took me down to London, and the British Council picked me up from Heathrow and sent me to their center in One Hands Crescent, London SW1. I lived there and started going to the school I paid for. It was £60 a term. So it was 180 a year. So I paid for 2 terms. And the third term I had to leave the London school to come up to Manchester for a textile course. Every person was in his own groove. The person, even though you interact in the trains and the buses, but you are in your own groove, you just never bothered about any. You only minded your own problems. We were in the same groove. Enter the train or enter the bus and get to school, and the same thing back again to eat and sleep. Nobody bothered you. In the second year, I was on a bus with a friend, a very close friend, a classmate of mine from Bishop Shanahan. I was with him in Manchester, and we wanted to visit another classmate in Leicester. We were in the bus, and certain news came up that in Nigeria there has been a coup, and so and so was killed. Festus Sokoto is missing. Sadwana Sokoto is been killed. One other, but Azikiwe is not been found, and the premier of Eastern Nigeria, Mr. Opera, is alive. So when this news just fly through, I asked Basil, did you hear what they said in that? He said yes. And by the time the news came, they had to cast it again as one of the main news in the. And so Basil and myself were beside ourselves in fear, because we were in a bus somewhere inside the heart of England, somewhere called the Peak Districts of England. And by the time we got into Leicester, our brothers over there have all had it. It became the reigning topic. And from there on, everything was downhill.
How did the coup d'etat in Nigeria and eventually the civil war, how did that affect your time, your studies?
Good. Because I'm being trained by my parents. Once the war started, no more contact with them. No maintenance, no money for maintenance, no contact at all. So I was left on my own, However, by that time I had done 2 years in the course. So they left me to go, that I could come back when the war finished. So I started to do some part-time jobs with some of the companies around,
So you suspended your education?
I suspended my education for
Is
for
that
three
because you
for
couldn't
three.
pay the fees?
Couldn't pay my fees. I couldn't, not only because I couldn't even live on anything. I have no money to live on. Couldn't pay my fees. Couldn't pay my house rent. Couldn't eat. When the war ended on 12th January 1970, most of them had to restart again and connect back to their scholarships, and went back to complete their courses anywhere they might have been. Any person who took allegiance to Nigeria could continue. The Nigerian government could still be sending him his scholarship money. So,
how did taking allegiance to the Nigerian government work? What did you have to do to take it? If
you have to go down to the Nigerian embassy
in London
and sign that you still are a Nigerian. Otherwise, you'll be labeled as a Biafran, and therefore you'll not be accorded Nigerian civilities in London, in Britain.
Were there some students who refused to sign allegiance to the Nigerian government?
Many, I included.
You refused?
Of course.
You didn't want support?
Of course. What support would I get? I wasn't a government student. So they're going to give support or give allegiance to the Nigerian government. They will not add an iota to my already hopeless state. Because the blacks, that is the African blacks, are not treated well in the city centers at night. The African nations started to build nightclubs by themselves. So you now have Ghana having a nice social club. You have Somali, you have Nigeria, of course, and inside Nigeria, we have the Igbos having their own social club, the Yorubas having their social club. The Hausas were not many here, so they didn't have any social club their own, but the whole of Nigeria had a one in the center, which overshadowed the other one. My father is a chief and the head of a family. While he was alive, he passed the title to me. And it was confirmed by my fathers in my mother's side. And they gave me the title of the heaviest guy. That's an elephant with the heavy horns in 1982 or 80. And that has been going, Then when my father died, the whole thing took its mantle, and I am the chief of my family, or my kindred. That's the thing, the kindred, which is a part of a village.
So you are chief of which kindred, which village?
Eluama in Olo. Eluama is the first village in Olo.
What state?
In Imo State. In Imo State, yes, and Olo is the second biggest town in Imo State.
So you are a chief in the UK. How do you run your village?
Although you have the title, all Nigerian running of towns and villages are run by a group of elders. And this group of elders, you might be their chief, you might be elder, so that's a pecking order in it. So when you are not there, the next person will take over.
So you are just a chief in name then?
No, you are now going in an area which is very close now. I go home so often that you don't know that I'm in Nigeria that so much, right? I go home very, very often.
How often? How many times do you go in 1 year?
Just now that I'm getting old, I go about once but I stay up to 6 months. So, but before I can go up to 6 times in a year when I was combining it with some business, the textile business.